In Odu Market, there was one rule every trader understood: never open your stall beside Chiamaka, not if you valued your peace, because no matter how fresh your fish was, no matter how early you arrived, no matter how loud you shouted, you would not last 7 days in that market. 2 years had passed since Mama Nenna died, but her absence still sat heavily on Odu village like an unfinished song. Everyone remembered her, the woman whose laughter filled the fish section, whose fish always sold out before noon, whose kindness fed widows when they had nothing. She wasn't just a seller, she was the heart of the market. Even the chief once said, "If Mama Nenna is not in the market is not complete." That was the kind of respect she carried, so when she died, something changed. Her stall, the one she used for 21 years, was left untouched. Chiamaka, her only daughter, avoided that part of the market completely. The memories were too sharp, the way her mother arranged fish with practiced hands. The songs she hummed during sales, the way she used to say, "My daughter, this stall will feed you one day." Chiamaka never believed it. Now, 2 years later, she was struggling, jobless, broke, eating once a day, skipping meals when things got bad. She tried small jobs, plaiting hair, washing clothes, pounding yam in people's houses, but nothing lasted. One hot afternoon, while returning home from errands, she passed through the market to buy cheap gari. Without planning to, she found herself walking toward her mother's old stall. The closer she got, the quieter she became. Women were shouting prices around her. "Fish, fresh fish. Come and buy, oh, today's fish sweet like honey." But when she reached her mother's space, silence, dust. Her mother's stool leaned against the table, the same stool she used every day. Chiamaka stood there, staring, her chest tightened painfully, her eyes burned. She whispered, "Mama." For the first time since her mother's burial, she didn't cry, she just breathed deeply in and out like someone waking from a long sleep. On her way home, the thought followed her like a shadow. When she reached her small room, she sat on her mother's old chair and said, "I can't continue like this." She wiped her face. "You suffered so we could live, how can I be here? Starving?" Then she stood up suddenly, as if pulled by something stronger than her fears. She tied her wrapper, stepped outside, and walked straight to Mama Yugo, her mother's closest friend in the market. Mama Yugo's eyes widened when she saw her. "My daughter, what brings you here this evening?" Chiamaka hesitated. Then she breathed out softly and said, "Mama, I want to continue my mother's fish business." Mama Yugo's eyes filled with tears instantly. She held Chiamaka's hands tightly. "Your mother will be smiling right now," she whispered. And for the first time in 2 years, Chiamaka felt something warm rise inside her, not sadness, not fear. The next morning before sunrise, Chiamaka followed Mama Yugo to the riverside where the fishermen anchored their boats. The air smelled of salt and smoke, men were shouting prices, women were arguing, fish flapped inside big baskets, still alive, but Chiamaka stood quietly beside Mama Yugo, feeling like a stranger among people who knew exactly what to do. "Don't be afraid," Mama Yugo whispered, "follow my lead." She introduced Chiamaka to the fishermen. "This is my late friend's daughter, treat her well." Some nodded politely, some barely looked up, a few smiled and said, "Ah, Mama Nenna's daughter. Welcome." But not everyone cared. One fisherman stared at her basket and said loudly, "She's new. She doesn't know anything. Give her the leftover fish." Several women laughed. Chiamaka's cheeks burned with shame. She lowered her eyes. Mama Yugo didn't argue. She simply placed a calm hand on Chiamaka's arm. "Take what you can for now. You will grow." That first week was hard. Chiamaka learned how to choose fish, how to price, how to cut, how to pack ice. But learning didn't bring customers. People walked past her like she didn't exist. Some acted as if her stall was invisible. Some looked at her small baskets and said, "Let me buy from those who know the business." Some didn't even greet her. She sat there from morning till late afternoon watching other women sell everything, while her own fish remained untouched. Sometimes, 2 women would whisper near her, "Is this not Mama Nenna's daughter?" "Yes. But she's not like her mother at all." Another day, a customer told her, "You are too quiet. Market needs voice. You can't be dull like this." Chiamaka smiled weakly. At night, she would count her losses and swallow tears. Some days she went home with almost nothing. Some days, she sold only 3 pieces of fish. Sometimes, Mama Yugo would slip small money into her hand and pretend it was change. Chiamaka always returned home exhausted. She asked herself, maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I'm not my mother. Her doubts grew heavier each day. On the 6th morning, when she arrived at the river, the fishermen ignored her completely. They waved to the older sellers first. Sell to me, she begged quietly, just small. One fisherman scoffed. You? You don't have customers. Let serious people buy first. The women around laughed again. Chiamaka walked away from the river with empty baskets and a trembling heart. She sat at her mother's stall, looked at the dusty wood, and whispered, Mama. Maybe I made a mistake. But she stayed, she waited, she refused to pack up. That afternoon, something changed. A traveler passing through the village stopped at her table. He looked at her fish quietly. You treat your fish with care, he said. Give me everything in this basket. Everything. Chiamaka almost dropped the fish. By evening, 2 more strangers stopped by. Then 5 more the next day. Her sales were still small, but something was shifting. On the 14th day, she went to the river early, too early. She didn't want the other women to take everything first. The fishermen were still offloading their boats. One of them looked up and smiled faintly. Ah, Mama Nenna's daughter. You came early today. Good morning, she greeted shyly. He opened a basket of fresh fish and pushed it toward her. Take from here. This one is good. The women nearby stared in disbelief. Another fisherman called her, Chiamaka. Look at this fish. Choose before others come. She blinked, confused, unsure if it was a joke, but it wasn't, for the first time. She bought fish without struggle. Her basket was full, her heart was full. That day in the market, everything changed. Customers lined up at her stall. People said her fish smelled fresher. Some said her hands were gentle like her mother's. Some said she had her mother's blessing. A woman even said, since she started, there's something different about the market. By the 3rd week, Chiamaka was no longer the girl begging for customers. She was the girl customers waited for. She walked with quiet confidence, not proud, not loud, just sure, and the other fish sellers noticed. Whispers began, she's rising too fast. How come she's buying in big baskets already? Her hands are too blessed. Something is off. Fish sellers don't grow like this. Chiamaka heard them. She ignored them. She kept her head down. She did her work. She minded her business. She didn't know. The whispers were about to turn into jealousy, and the jealousy would soon turn into something darker, something she never imagined. But for now, she simply packed her fish and walked home, unaware that the entire market had started watching her. Within a month, Chiamaka's stall no longer looked like the quiet corner it used to be. Customers formed small lines. Strangers visited just to buy from the late Mama Nenna's daughter. Fishermen sometimes refused to sell to anyone else until she had chosen her own baskets first. The change was natural, but to the other fish sellers, it looked strange. Mama Yugo watched her with pride. Ah, your mother would be so happy, she told her one afternoon as they packed up. Chiamaka smiled. I'm still learning, Mama. But while one woman was proud, others were not. At first, the gossip was small. She's lucky. She inherited her mother's good hand. It's just beginner's luck. But as days passed and her turnout grew bigger, the whispers started to turn sharp. On a Monday morning, 3 other fish sellers gathered behind the market shed. Their voices carried despite their efforts to whisper. It's too much now, one said. She buys the biggest baskets and still sells out first. How? Another added. Me that has been in this market for 10 years cannot sell like her. The third woman hissed. She pretends to be quiet, but she knows what she's doing. Chiamaka heard bits and pieces sometimes, but she never answered. She bent her head, did her work, talked politely to customers, went home quietly. Her calmness only made the jealousy worse. Then the strange things started. A new fish seller named Ngozi opened her stall directly beside Chiamaka. She smiled at Chiamaka on the first day, placed her small wooden table neatly, even greeted her humbly, my sister. May God bless both of us. Chiamaka smiled softly back, Amen. But by afternoon, Ngozi was frowning. Her ice had melted faster than it should. Her biggest fish smelled strange. Customers walked to Chiamaka's side without looking at her own table. By the second day, Ngozi didn't sell even half of her stock. By the third day, she stormed the market crying, I will not stay beside that girl again. People gathered, some comforted her, some watched quietly. Ngozi pointed at Chiamaka's table with shaky hands. Since I came near her, nothing has been normal. My fish spoil fast. Ice melts. People avoid me. I can't stay here. The market erupted. Some murmured, "Ah, it has started again. This is the third person she has chased away. It's suspicious." Her mother was powerful. Maybe she left something for her. Chiamaka did not defend herself. She simply wrapped fish, counted change, and continued selling. 2 weeks later, another woman opened near her. Same thing happened. More whispers followed. Anytime someone stays near her, they fail. We should be careful. Something is not normal. Even Mama Yugo started receiving questions. Are you sure your late friend didn't leave something for her daughter? How is she selling like this? Why do fishermen prefer her? Mama Yugo defended Chiamaka every time. She is blessed. Nothing more. But the jealousy grew. Soon, it wasn't whispers anymore. It was arguments. It was suspicion. It was anger boiling under the surface. By the next week, the tension was too much to hide. Women complained openly, accused openly, cried openly, said the market was spoiling because of her. Few days later, the morning sun had barely risen on this particular day. The market was just settling in, women rinsing their basins, fishermen shouting prices from the riverbank. Chiamaka was already at her stall, attending to the long line of customers in front of her. Her table was full, people were smiling, money was flowing into her hands. Then everything changed. A sudden silence swept through the fish section as 2 palace guards appeared from the narrow path between the stalls. Their heavy footsteps hit the sand hard, their spears glinted in the early light. They didn't slow down, they didn't ask questions, they walked straight to Chiamaka. Before she could even greet the next customer, one guard grabbed her arm roughly while the other held her wrapper from behind. Chiamaka, daughter of Mama Nenna? The first guard asked loudly. Chiamaka nodded, confused. You are wanted at the palace, he said, not waiting for a reply. The customers gasped. Women dropped their knives. The market froze as the guards pulled her away from her stall. Within seconds, whispers turned into shouts. Carry her well. She must explain today. It's time the chief hears everything. The long line in front of her broke apart. People stepped back. Some watched with fear, others with excitement. The guards dragged her through the center of Odu Market as every trader turned to look. Her fish stall remained behind, full, fresh, untouched, while the woman everyone whispered about was taken away to face the palace. That was the moment the market truly divided, because from this point on, nothing would remain the same. The arrest shook the entire market. The moment the palace guards dragged Chiamaka away, the fish section erupted like a festival, but one filled with bitterness and excitement. Some women clapped, some danced, some shouted, finally. The gods have caught her. She will explain today. Others stood quietly, unsure. The older women crossed their arms and whispered, things like this are never what they seem. Let's wait and see. But the 5 women who had suffered near Chiamaka's stall, they were the loudest. She must pay. She ruined my business. My fish spoiled because of her. She forced me out of the market. Their voices carried far across the stalls. Mama Yugo stood frozen, heart pounding, hands trembling. She wanted to run after the guards, but her legs refused to move. My daughter. She whispered, tears burning her eyes. This is not fair. But the crowd was too loud to hear one woman's sorrow. Chiamaka was taken straight to the palace courtyard. She didn't fight. She didn't cry. She simply followed, her eyes steady, her breath quiet. When the guards pushed her to kneel before the chief, she bowed her head respectfully. The chief looked down at her. Young woman. Your name is on every mouth in this village, he said. Chiamaka lifted her head slowly. I don't know why, my chief. I have only been selling fish. One elder scoffed loudly. And other women have been suffering since you came. Another added, your mother was powerful. Who knows what she left for you? A third elder shook his head. This is not ordinary. Too many sellers have cried against you. Chiamaka swallowed hard. I have harmed no one, she said quietly. The chief watched her for a moment, then signaled the guards to step back. This matter has grown beyond gossip, he said. The market is no longer peaceful. We must consult the spirits. The courtyard fell silent instantly. The chief continued, we will summon the chief priest. But this is not only your matter. He turned to his guards. Send word to all the fish sellers in the market. They must report here in 2 days. The guards bowed and left. When the guards returned to the market with the announcement, chaos followed. All of us? Why? We're the victims. What are they trying to say? But beneath their loud voices, fear cracked through. The women who once shouted boldly now exchanged uneasy glances. Some whispered, "Why should I come to the palace? I didn't do anything. Ah, what if something exposes me wrongly? I don't like this kind of matter." Others were too confident. "Let them call us. We will testify. We will disgrace that girl properly. She deserves everything she gets." But deep down, none of them truly felt safe. Rumors spread like fire across the market. The chief is taking this matter seriously. Oh, the gods must settle this one. And when the chief priest enters a matter, secrets come out. At the palace, the chief dismissed the elders and sent Chiamaka to a waiting room inside the palace. A palace maid brought her water and food. Chiamaka barely touched it. She sat with her hands on her lap, replaying everything that happened in the market. She whispered, "I did nothing. Why is this happening to me?" But no tears came. She was too confused, too shocked, too calm and shaken at the same time. 2 days after the palace announcement, every fish seller in Odu Market gathered inside the palace courtyard. Not 5, not 10, all of them, old women, young sellers, newcomers, veterans, even Mama Yugo. They filled the courtyard like a restless sea, murmuring, whispering, adjusting wrappers nervously. Some came boldly, sure that Chiamaka would finally be disgraced. Some came quietly, unsure of what the gods might expose. Some came pretending innocence, but their eyes revealed fear, and Chiamaka stood alone in a corner. Silent as always, she didn't look guilty, she didn't look proud, just calm, too calm for their liking. When the chief priest stepped forward, the courtyard went silent immediately. Even the birds stopped flying. He raised a calabash of water. "This water," he said, "is not ordinary, it is truth. And truth does not hide." He looked around slowly. "Every fish seller will drink from it. If your hands are clean, nothing will happen to you. But if you carry jealousy, or wickedness, or anything meant to destroy another." He paused. "The gods will expose you in 7 days." Gasps filled the air. Some women exchanged frightened glances. Others straightened their backs stubbornly, ready to accuse Chiamaka again. One by one, the sellers drank, including Mama Yugo. When Chiamaka drank, people whispered, "She is finished. This is her end. She will not escape." The chief priest dismissed them with a final warning: within 7 days, the guilty will confess, not with their mouth, but with their suffering. The sellers left the palace buzzing with excitement and fear. The fish section became strangely quiet. Everyone watched each other. Everyone avoided unnecessary conversations. Women who once boasted were now praying quietly inside their stalls. Those who accused Chiamaka the loudest began to be sick with worry. Rumors spread. Nothing happened to Chiamaka. She is still selling. She is not afraid. Her fish is still fresh. Until, one hot afternoon, Chiamaka and Mama Yugo were sitting together, talking gently about fish sizes and fishermen prices. Normal conversation, nothing strange. Then suddenly, Mama Yugo stopped talking. She frowned slightly and touched her chest. "Ah, why do I feel hot?" she murmured. Chiamaka stood up, concerned. "Mama, are you okay?" Mama Yugo removed her headscarf. I'm burning. Inside." She started fanning herself desperately. The heat grew stronger, too strong to be ordinary. Mama Yugo grabbed the edge of the wooden table, breathing heavily. Traders nearby turned to look. "Mama Yugo. What's wrong? Are you sick? Is it the weather?" But she didn't answer. She began to tremble. Her wrapper slipped slightly. Her eyes filled with tears. She lowered herself to the ground slowly. Then suddenly sat down hard, clutching her chest. "Mama!" Chiamaka shouted, kneeling beside her. The other sellers rushed over. "What is happening? Call someone." Mama Yugo began crying, not softly, but loudly, painfully, uncontrollably. "Chiamaka, forgive me," she choked out. The crowd gasped. Chiamaka froze. "Mama, forgive you for what?" Mama Yugo covered her face with both hands, shaking violently. "I didn't know. It would come back to me. I didn't know. The gods would punish me. Mama, what are you talking about? The market stood still, women dropped their knives, customers stopped buying, even fishermen walking past froze. Mama Hugo sobbed harder. Your mother was the most loved, the most blessed, the most respected fish seller in this market. She looked up, tears streaming, when she died. I thought her customers would become mine. I thought I would be the next great seller. But then you came. The crowd gasped again. Chiamaka stared in confusion, pain, and shock. Mama Hugo. What are you saying? The elderly woman cried even harder. I could not watch you rise. I could not watch you succeed so fast. I was jealous. Jealous of your mother. Jealous of you. A painful silence fell. Then in a broken voice, she confessed, I went to the herbalist. I asked for something that would spoil the business of any seller who opened near you, so they would blame you. So you would be chased out, so I would remain the strongest seller. Women screamed, Jesus. So it was her. All this suffering came from her. Mama Hugo cried loudly, hitting her chest with her hands. The heat. It's burning me. The truth is burning me. Please forgive me. She collapsed forward, her forehead touching the sand as she wept at Chiamaka's feet. The entire market surrounded them, stunned, ashamed, speechless. All the accusations, all the rumors, all the shame they poured on Chiamaka, were directed at the wrong person. The real culprit was the one everyone trusted. The one everyone respected. The one they believed was innocent. Chiamaka knelt beside her, tears silently filling her eyes, not because of anger, but because her heart had finally understood, the person you trust the most can be the one who hurts you the deepest. The market learned that day. Jealousy does not need a loud mouth. Sometimes, the quietest hands carry the sharpest knife, and the gods, they exposed the truth exactly the way the chief priest promised, not by shouting, but by burning the guilty from the inside out. Moral of the story, jealousy often hides behind the people we trust the most, and sometimes the innocent become targets simply because their light shines without effort. In a world where success is easily misunderstood, people may point fingers at the wrong person, but truth has a way of rising when the time is right. No matter how long evil pretends to be innocent, the heart that envies another will always expose itself in the end, and the person who stands with a clean mind will always stand victorious. Thank you for watching, besties. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you for always supporting me. Your love keeps this channel growing. Hit the subscribe button and join us for more emotional, mysterious African stories every week.